Am I recording? Yay, I'm recording. Hi guys. Hi. Okay, I know I have been absent on YouTube and Patreon and all these lovely places for a while now, but I am ready to show you the final product. Now, this is going to be my daily planner, which I'm going to be using for promotion and testing out the product and stuff like that, because you cannot have a product unless you test it out yourself. So, yeah, this one's going to be mine. As you guys can see, this is how it looks. I am so happy with it. I'm so excited. You guys get when you guys order this product, you guys do get a free keychain with your daily planner. So that's why I got like my house keys here just to show you the handmade bears that I crocheted. So yeah, there we go. But I am very, very happy. And then this mouse pad is from my merch store. It is very old. It is very used up. I don't think I've got this design, but I do have other designs over on my merch store if you want to go check that out. But yeah, moving on to planning ahead. This is how it looks. Now, I tried putting my notebook in here, but it's a little bit too big. So if this amount here at the bottom was cut off, then it could have fits in. Wait, let me just put it. Then it could have fit in here nicely. Here you've got your pen holder for your pen. If you want to add more pens or highlights or something else that can fit in nicely here, like maybe a small ruler or whatever the case may be, you can go ahead and do that. And then obviously you got my logo and a little thank you thingy at the back for your purchase. So I'm thanking myself for my purchase. But there we go, guys. And then you've got your file dividers. So over here you've got your how to use section. I don't know if you guys, there we go. You got your how to use. And then here over on the second page, you've got your extras. Now, I've already used some of these pages, so you've got your extras. So let me just go to the pages that I've already started using. Oh, guys, if you want, please comment your birthdays and your names, whether it's your username, real name, don't care, in here. So when it's your birthday, when I'm recording that day, or when the episode uploads, whatever, I can wish you guys a happy birthday for that week or for that day or whatever the case may be. And then here I've got your gift section. So gifts that you've bought, gifts that you received, and there is a price there. And yeah, over here, where is it? Yeah, over here, I've already started with my entertainment list. So this is everything that I've done on Patreon. And the parts that are not highlighted is the parts that I'm busy with. Now, where it says scene, you guys can just add a tick or whatever. For me, I just added highlights because I like being colorful. And then over here, I've got my reading list and I've got a little color thingy for my reading list. So I'm just doing 2 color codes. So like books of the Bible that I've read and other books that I've read that's like fiction, supernatural, blah, 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 blah. So I just got biblical and other. And then over here, I haven't written anything here just yet, but I can't wait to start using this for Monday streams when I come across a word I don't know when reading the book. So I'm really, really excited for that. And then here I've got my favorite quotes. I've already got 2 here. So one of them is Fall 7 Times, Get Up 8, which is a title of a book. And if I'm not mistaken, I do think that is a Japanese proverbs as well. It basically means never give up. And then one of my favorite quotes, which my late grandfather taught me, respect is given, not earned. And trust is earned, not given. Because a lot of people walk around and it's like, oh, you haven't earned my respect, but then they'll trust that person. So that is one of the wisdoms that my grandfather passed down to me, and it has always stayed with me and it always stuck with me, and it's one of my favorite quotes that I still use today. And then over here, I've got some of my goals written down. You guys can't really see that clearly though. And then I'm not starting my finances because my finances are kind of all over the place this month because of the cost of, making these things. So I'm going to be starting to use this next month, and I'll let you guys know how this is working out. But again, I'm really, really excited for this. This has been in the works for the last couple of years, guys, and it's only now that I'm actually seeing the physical copy, and I kind of want to cry because I'm so happy and excited for this. And then over here, I've already got my weekly plan. So for those of you who do like reading the Bible or want to read the Bible and you just can't get into it, I've got your daily word here. So, it will help you get through that. And if you are not interested in the Bible, you guys can just skip that part. You've got your weekly goals where you can write down your goals, your weekly priorities, what is a priority this week, what needs to be done, not procrastinate, whatever, and your weekly shopping list for those of you who does weekly shopping. And then as you guys can see, I've already started filling stuff out for the week so far, but I've only got up until Wednesday. I've only got up until Wednesday planned because I do know what I want to do during the week. And then as tomorrow happens, then I'm going to start filling out the rest of these blocks. So as the day goes on, these blocks here are going to be filled up. So yeah, that's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I did not fill Thursday out yet because Thursday are normally my days off. Those are the days that I leave, like for if my grand wants to get something done, then I can help her with that. Or, so Thursdays are my days, like are things for the house, like cleaning, or if I'm just relaxing and everything's done, then I just relax that day and I don't really do anything. So Thursdays are normally my day off. And then sometimes if things that I didn't get done in the week that needs to be done before Friday, then I'll normally just leave Thursday open for that. And yeah, so I only got up until Wednesday filled, and then after Wednesday, then I'll start filling out the rest. This is for the end of the week, so you can check up at the end of the week what you've done, what you've accomplished, what you haven't accomplished, what needs to be worked on, and all of that. And then here at the bottom, I've got my written out. So I've got my wish, my outcome, my obstacle, and my plan. So I'm going to read this out for you guys. So here for wish, I put debut planning ahead in the first week of August. Improved work, and this is the outcome. Improved workmanship, better time management, and 19 complete products. So this is the product. And then my obstacle, late nights, because I've been working on this up until 3 o'clock in the morning, which makes me wake up late in the mornings. And then I start my day late, which is why content hasn't really been put out because of poor time management. Okay, so I got your late nights and mornings, which could cause a delay in time in the time period I laid out for myself. And then I've got for my plan, slot times for planning ahead, planners, and work within those time frames. Tidy up afterwards and do not rush. Because when rushing this, I make mistakes, which means material is wasted, which means more money needs to be spent on material. So I can't afford to rush and make mistakes, silly mistakes like that. And then on the fifth one, so I'm just going to skip. So I've only got 1 month in here. So far, there's just 1 month, which is 4 weeks. So here we've got our stickers, which I can't wait to use for, starting from tomorrow. I can't wait to use the weather, how I'm feeling that day, time to work, I can't wait to start using all of this. Each planner is going to have 3 sets of stickers. Yeah, each planner is going to have, this was my sample. This was the sample that they gave me to see if I was happy with it. And I was very, very happy with it. So this is the sample. I think I might do a poll or a spin wheel or something for the sample. So whoever wins gets the sample. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep the sample for myself. So yeah, this was just the sample, and then I was happy with it, and they went ahead. So each one gets 3 stickers, sticker pages. And then here at the back, you've got looking back at the year. So you've got your dates, you've got the milestones you've reached, and what was the milestones you've reached. So far, the milestones is just my planning ahead planner or daily planner or whatever you want to call it that I've got here. And then here on the last page, guys, look at this. I got my VTuber model and a random model that I made, which looks scarily like my brother. So here, and then here at the back, you got for more merch, and then you got my link to my merch store, and then you got order planning ahead. I've changed my Patreon name to Cassandra_VT for where you guys can order the physical copy of planning ahead. But yeah, guys, I can't wait until this is all done. I can't wait until I debut this. When I debut this, I will give the finalized price because the prices have changed like 3 times already because of, time and materials and costs and all of that. So prices have changed 3 times already. So when the final product is out, then I will put the final price in it. But yeah, here at the back, there is no pockets. It's just flat or whatever the case may be. But yeah, guys, here is your planning ahead planner. This is how the final product's going to look. Unfortunately, because of how small these rings are, I didn't realize they're going to be this small. You can only fit 1 to 2 months in here, but that's fine because that's what I had in mind, that you only work one month by month or week by week, that you don't have the whole year in here because it can be overwhelming and it can be a bit much. And we're like, ugh. So if you only work with a couple of days or a couple of weeks at a time or a month or 2 at a time, I think that's a lot more manageable for most people or people like me who struggle to stay organized. So yeah, this is why I created this planner because I was really, really struggling to stay organized, and I am very happy with the product so far. I hope you guys are also happy with the product. But with that being said, I'm going to go hop into some retail Reddit reactions. Welcome to Retail Cafe. Grab your orders and enjoy as we dive into the world of retailers. Customer throws her shopping on the floor because I took too long. This was 8 days ago. Why? Oh my word. Okay. Good thing this is a short story. Good thing that this is a short one. I only recently started working in retail, which means I'm not as fast as a cashier as I was. Yesterday, it got fairly busy. We had a huge line and I had trouble with some items not scanning. That does happen. While one coworker was helping me figure everything out, we obviously called someone to open up another cash register. Fair. Apparently, we took too long and this one lady in line just threw her shopping on the floor, some pool noodles and towels, and stormed out of the store, calling me horrible names while doing so. That's a little bit of an overreaction. And when I mean a little bit of an overreaction, I mean that is a lot of an overreaction. what's happened to patience these days? And while I do get the frustration how she probably had places to go, we really only took 2 to 3 minutes with another cash register opening that she could have gone to. If you can't wait 2 to 3 minutes for this, then yeah. I think people need to bring back the days of patience, and social media needs, I wouldn't say needs to completely disappear, but I think there needs to be a cap put on social media. Remember when the box TVs was still a thing and you had to wait until the next week for the next episode of a series you were watching? A lot of people had a lot of patience back then, and I don't think social media has helped with patience. I mean, doing these daily planners, that's one thing that I have gotten back is patience, because I used to be so impatient. Working on these daily planners, I am a lot more patient. I'm a lot more calm, so I think maybe just cutting down on social media will help a lot with with your patience build up. And I think if you put yourself, and I know it's not gonna be as easy, but you put a time cap on social media, or you put a cap on the series you're watching. So instead of binge watching the series, you're gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna watch one episode every night, or I'm gonna watch one episode of the series today, and then next week at the same time, I'm gonna watch the next episode of the series. Instead of binge watching a series. So I think that will help a lot with social media. But yeah, I would rate this a 3 out of 5 because I think the customer, it was unnecessary. Now I'm gonna play devil's advocate, and I'm doing that in quotes. The customer could have just been having a bad day. She could have just been having a bad day, and then this, or a bad month, or a bad year, or whatever. And this could have been the straw that broke the camel's back. That's just me, trying to see it from both sides. This is a 3 out of 5. It was really unnecessary, and it's one of those things that could have been easily resolved, or she could have just she could have left the trolley in the queue. And I don't think it was necessary throwing everything out the trolley and throwing it on the floor and expecting other people to clean up after you. No, that's not how we behave. That is not how we behave. Okay, so that one was, oh, wait, I forgot to give the name of the person. That one is from Slushy Sweets Stella. Yeah, so moving on to the next story, let me just thank you. Moving on to the next story,
Tell me why.
and this one is by Big Snake Energy. Okay, that is quite the name. We're gonna start reading. Yeah, we're gonna see what this one's about. I just started a new job. I have worked in retail a couple years and started working at another store. Since today was my first day at the store, I spent most of it doing modules, but they put me on the register towards the end of the day. Okay, that's new. I never heard of doing modules in retail. Interesting. I wonder which retail store she was working in. Did she say? I spent most of it doing modules. I reached to the end of my shift, and it was about time for me to clock out when my co-worker, the only other person working the front, asked me if I could hold down the fort while she went on a break. I agreed because it was only 10 minutes. What could possibly go wrong? You see, this is another quote that I can write down in my quotes. You offer a hand and they take the whole arm. If, you know, Another thing that my grandfather told me is, like, if you offer somebody a helping hand and they try to take the whole arm, cut them off, because they're always gonna take advantage of you and stuff like that. So now if they do it once, okay, yeah, maybe give them a second chance. But if they do it more than once, if it's something that happens every single time when you're constantly offering a helping hand and they're constantly taking the whole arm, that it's best for you to cut that person out. Dumb decision. I don't know what it is, but for some reason, you either get the most customers or the most difficult customers right before you clock out. Oh, yeah. It's like I can smell it or something. Anyway, no sooner had she gone to the break room than my register was absolutely swamped. I was doing all right taking care of everything, but then the assistant manager came out and asked me if I could help bring up a few balloons. This guy was buying. Okay, so I thought this was going to be a story about her coworker taking advantage of her being kind, and okay, never mind. It's not that. It's not that. Okay. What I said still stands, but it doesn't apply to the story. Okay. Up a few balloons this guy was buying. It's a bit of a complicated process because you can't just scan a balloon that's already been inflated. There's individual numbers for each, and this guy got a bunch of different ones. So I had to type them all in. Oh no. Oh, at the time, I was in the middle of helping a customer and I asked her if I could wait until I was finished with him, and she said yes. The guy I'm helping asks me if I'm sure about that, and I say yes without a second thought. I mean, shit, I've already handled a huge line and a lady who must have bought half the store. Can't be that challenging, right? Oh no. Oh no, I can see this is I don't know where this is going, but I'm scared. I'm scared. That's when I took up that's when I look up and make eye contact with the guy. He's making the most unhinged, maniacal, here's Johnny looking grin I've ever seen, and I wonder what the hell I just got myself into. Oh no. He buys about three fairly expensive items, nothing crazy. Maybe he's just messing with me. But then when I'm done, he grins even wider and hands me a big wad of change, and I suddenly realized why he said what he said. Oh, this customer's just trolling you. He's trolling you. It wouldn't have been so bad. It was quarters, but it was almost all nickels and a few dimes. And he had three customers behind him, including Balloon Guy. I managed to count out the change far more quickly than expected as someone who isn't exactly a math or numbers person. But the whole process of counting out all those nickels was a bleep. He apologized afterwards and joked about it a little bit. In retrospect, it was sort of funny, but also what the F, dude. Oh, I love this story. I despise people so much. I don't know why this made me laugh. Oh my word. I'm replying to this. I was like, I don't no. Ah! I know how to spell. No, why this made me laugh after reading this. Man. Okay, anyway, let's see what others have to say. It always bothers me when they act like some silly goof or inconvenience me and everyone around them. Like, at least have some respect and apologize. Don't be sitting there like it's the funniest damn thing in the world. I find the story funny. Okay, if this was happening to me, I would not find it funny. But reading it, I find it funny. And it is a little bit funny. I do like the story. I think this is a maybe a 2 out of 5 because of the frustration levels that the retailer and customers might have felt. But yeah, no, I don't think it's that bad. I did enjoy the story. What I would do in that situation, honestly, I would have called the other lady that's on her break and be like, hey, listen, I know you're on your break, but I need help out here. Can you maybe just help the other customers? When you're done, I'll stay longer to cover your break and you can, continue your break. That's how I would have handled the situation. But honestly, I would rate this a 2 out of 5. And yeah, moving on to the third story for today. This one was posted a month ago by Cappuccino Brev. Hey, I like that name, Cappuccino. Oh, speaking of cappuccino, my coffee's finished. I'm sad. Nah, there's a hole in my mug. I need coffee and an IV. Okay, teach me how to grow cannabis right now. Please tell me it ain't so. Please tell me it ain't so. Speaking of cannabis, here in South Africa, they apparently our government's trying to pass a law where vaping in public spaces, as for smoking, is going to be illegal and you can be fined or imprisoned for up to 3 months if you are caught vaping in public. Oh, and indoor smoking places for people who like smoking in restaurants and stuff like that. Yeah, those are not going to be legalized anymore as well. And for me, as a person who doesn't like smoking, I am somewhat happy about this because if you want to smoke, yeah, keep it like, smoke in your own home, in your own property and stuff like that. Do not put that on other people who don't like smoking, especially around people who can't breathe around smoking or have asthma and stuff like that, because you don't know what medical issues other people might have. So I am completely for this law, and I can see how people will be against this and how it will upset a lot of people. But yeah, I'm very happy about this. Anyway, moving on. Teach me how to. Oh yeah, years ago I had a guy at the garden center I worked at tell me. Wow, this is. I had a guy at the garden center I worked at tell me he had just gotten his medical card for cannabis, and I had to tell him everything he needed to know to grow weed. I have no objection to anyone partaking in cannabis, but I had never grown it myself. I could tell him how to start seeds and get a plant growing, but he wanted a start to finish tutorial on growing indoors. I told him I did not have the knowledge base to advise him and suggested he gets a book on the subject. This incident was in the mid 90s, predating smartphones and everyone having internet access. He did not like this answer and demanded that it was my job to teach him, and he had a medical card and I had to tell him what to do. Like, dude, I can teach you how to grow tomatoes, prune your roses, and the like, but I have never grown weed. Somehow, the 80-year-old Italian guy I work for must have missed that part of my training. Okay, I'm gonna downvote this because I do not like weed. I do not like. I don't care if it's legalized. I still see weed as a drug, and having to deal with somebody who was a drug addict who was constantly smoking weed, it makes everything stink. I know it just stinks up everything, and it took months to get that smell out the house. And and then it was the constant abuse, it was the constant, stealing money for things, and yeah, there were other problems as well on top of that. It wasn't just weed, but you know, it was it was a gateway basically to other drugs, to alcohol, to who knows what else my uncle was on. So I am not an advocate for weed. I do not agree with it. That's just my opinion. I do think it needs to be illegalized. I've just had, and I'm not saying that everybody has to have the same opinion as me. It's just I've had very, very bad experiences when it comes to drugs, weed, smoking, and alcohol. And it's just not something I want in my life, and it's not something I appreciate to have around me. And when I get my own place one day, those things are going to be banned. I'm not going to tolerate any of it. And it's just because the amount of abuse and trauma that came with it, where I'm just like, nope, just keep those things away from me because I am not going to go through that stuff again. So it's more from of a safety and health thing for me than anything else. But yeah, I don't agree with weed. I don't like it. Mm, there's other herbs and fruits and vegetables that will have most likely the same medicinal properties as weed, but yeah, that's just my opinion. If you disagree, please let me know in the comments down below, but keep it respectful. And yeah, we are going to be moving on to our fourth story for today. I think I've only ever downvoted three of these stories from retail so far, but yeah. So this is from how I would have handled that situation, especially in the 90s. Honestly, I think I would have just turned to the guy and just be like, I don't know how I would have handled that situation, to be honest, because I was I wasn't I wasn't really there in the 90s. I was born in the 90s, but I wasn't, I was like a baby. So it's different to today. If this happened today, I would be like, sorry, sir, not my thing. I don't want anything to do with it. I can see if I can get somebody else to help you in this regard, but I would stay as far away from it as possible. And obviously, I would be respectful towards the customer, and I'll just let the customer know, like, hey, I don't know anything about this. I just stay far away from these things. Let me see if I can find somebody else who has more knowledge on this and who can help you with these things. So that's how I would have handled it in today. But in the 90s, I can't really say, and I can't really rate it in the 90s. I would rate it most likely a 3 because how can you be angry with somebody who doesn't know anything about the subject? That's where I stand. But anyway, moving on to crickets. Okay, and this one's by Flora. Oh, Fiara Chi. Fiara Chi. That's an I. It looked like an L there. Yeah, Fiara Chi. This happened a number of years ago, but it is a story I still tell and probably one of those work stories I will never forget. I worked for a supermarket on this particular weekend. We were having a heat wave. Oh, do not talk to me about heat waves. Are you in South Africa or in the UK or other parts of the world? Because I know the UK heat wave has been really, really bad lately. I know South African's heat wave, it can be bad, but not as bad as the UK. And I know in places, I think it's Italy or Spain, where there's a heat wave, there's a law where everything closes down and people are told to stay inside when there's a heat wave. Let me know how heat waves work and where you come from. I would love to hear those stories. As I worked in one of the non-food sections, this particular store never switched on the aircon. Oh, that is bad for food. The next day we had a major visit scheduled. Some extremely high-profile high-ups were coming for a store around walk around. Remember this. Naturally, everything had to be perfect for the next day, so we were super busy with a massive job list and an attempt to keep a and an attempt to keep the shop floor as tidy as possible. A customer asked me for help, a normal question. I had to go get something from the warehouse for them. On the way, I remember seeing a cricket toy on the floor. At the time, our toy section sold some life-sized, very realistic cricket toys. I took notes so I could pick it up after. I was done with the customer I was helping. Oh no, please don't tell me it was a real cricket. How much you want to bet it was a real cricket and not a toy one? On the way back, I bent down to pick up the toy and it moved. It was no toy at all. I called it. It was a real cricket. I suddenly hear one of my coworkers from the next aisle along. She has the sweetest little old lady who just worked a few hours in the week to buy stuff for her grandson. Oh, I ran around the corner to help her as she is running towards me with her hands in her hair, ruffling her hair around. I look down the aisle and we have 5 more crickets down the aisle, real life crickets, and one of them just landed. Oh, no, I feel bad for the old lady. Oh, sweetie. Remember how I said they never switched the aircon on in my section? Well, they were testing it for the big visit the next day. They had not switched the aircon on for so long that a bunch of crickets had made a nest in the air vent and rained crickets down onto the shop floor. Oh no. Me and this co-worker stared down the aisle, baffled at what to do. It was defiantly one of those I do not get paid enough for this moments. Also, do not do well with the bugs at all. I would have flipped. Oh man, I would have ran out the store. I would have left the store open and I would have just ran out. And as I'm running out, I would have phoned the owners and I'm like, hey, remember the aircon that you told us not to put on? Yeah, a whole bunch of crickets made a nest in there. So when we turned the aircon on, it started raining crickets. The store's open. I ran out. You can't deal with it. I do not get paid enough for this shit. Bye. How would have you handled this situation? I would rate this a 5 because no, I'm good. That's when a few customers came over to ask what was going on, to which I only pointed and said the work crickets. Customers also stared down the aisle, dumbfounded as we were. My section leader then comes over, thinking there was trouble with the customers. When we explained, she too did not like bugs and stared with the rest of us. The security team, seeing a big group of us, then decides to come over. Once again, they did not know what to do. So there we were, 2 colleagues, 1 section leader, 2 members of security, 5 customers baffled why we had crickets raining down upon us. It is that moment that a woman who worked in the bakery section comes over with a huge box, scoops up all those crickets like a pro. She walks past us all, nods like a champion and says, my lizard will feed well tonight, and walks off. I love it. I love it so much. And thus ends the tale of when my place of employment tried to recreate one of the plagues of Egypt upon us on a casual Sunday with crickets rather than locusts. I no longer work there, but the store does now use the aircon in that section regularly. When I hear it go off as I am shopping, I do look up nervously to check. You can never be sure. I love this story. Okay, the whole cricket thing, I would rate a 5 out of 5, but how this was handled, a 1 out of 5. I don't think I would have handled it any differently. Like I said, I would have ran out the store and phoned the owners of the store to let them know what's going on. I would have been like, no. I would have just walked out. Isn't there a famous case of a guy who ordered them online for a pet, I think, but didn't realize the box they were in was the only thing containing them? He thought they'd be in an extra bag or something and opened the box and they went everywhere. Oh no. I am picturing a mighty warrior from right after the battle has ended. I vanquished a horde of enemies contemplating the bloody battlefield. I love it. Next to her warrior queen, casually nodding and saying, "My lizard will eat well tonight." I need to use this in a D&D session. I'm gonna see if I can use it in our D&D session tomorrow. My lizard will eat well tonight. I need to talk to my DM about this. I love the story. And for the last story of today, we've got Customer throws her shopping on the floor because I took too long by Sushi Sweet Stella. Oh, wait, we already read the story. Oh no, we only got 4 stories this week. I am so sorry. No, 4 stories today. Tomorrow we'll have our 5 usual stories. I hope you guys enjoyed these retail reaction stories, and I shall see you tomorrow for some more retail reaction stories. And until then, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.